Alright, so today is July 15th, and just a quick little update on what's been up here lately. I don't think there's a whole lot of progress here. I got this side almost done now. I got a second layer to put on here, but as you can see, I got it at least planked up to the bow here for the most part, and then this side has got both layers on it. Kind of a little confused or not sure what to do here where this chine point comes forward into this kind of rounded area, and I'm thinking, let me get around the other side here. I'm thinking that I'm just going to leave it kind of rounded here, as opposed to trying to extend this chine point all the way up here. So I'll just kind of smooth this out and then have this hard point start back here. It's going to make it difficult to put put the plywood over here, so I might kind of strip this in with, you know, maybe a couple layers of 1/4 inch instead of regular wood, instead of the plywood right up here, and then just start the plywood here, and then just kind of strip this in with, you know, glue in 1/4 inch strips or whatever to make up the difference here. But as you can also see, I did get this chine point planed down for the most part. I got most of this side done, and it worked fairly well, and I just used my power plane. My hand power plane. There's a few places it needs a little work yet, but it's not too bad. Once see, I got the aft end to do yet, but otherwise the rest of it's all done. It did create a little tear out here and there, and if I was to do this again, I think I would probably make sure I put some glue in up here when I put these planks on, so that you didn't get that chip out. See here, a spot's pretty bad. Not that that's going to be any significant problem. I mean, this is going to have the plywood put over it, and it'll get faired and rounded off a little bit, and so yeah, it's not going to hurt anything in the grand scheme of things, but still. And yeah, since I got a lot of sanding to do, I got my dust extractor hooked up. I didn't have one of these hoses, and I went ahead and bought a kit to hook up to my dust extractor. And for sanding, I think this little 20-gallon container is fine. If I was going to be doing, you know, big amounts of sawdust, like a lot of table saw or one of the other bigger saws, that might be a different story, or the planer for that matter, but the planer goes outside. So, but for sanding, I think this will work just fine, and probably be able to give me quite a few hours of sanding between having to dump that or unload it. But yeah, I wanted to get that going because I just absolutely hate wearing a mask. And interestingly enough, this thing is, I mean, I'm not getting a bit of dust in the air, not a bit when I'm using it. So I don't think I'm going to have to wear a mask. But anyway, so we're working on planking. We're almost got that done, although I haven't been working on it a whole lot the last couple days. I've been doing a few little odds and ends on it. But what I have been doing is getting this steel prepared for the keel shoe, which that keel shoe needs to get done this summer, and that means it has to go underneath the length of the boat and all the way up the stem. And this is 3/8 inch plate, and then I got a piece of 5/8 out there that's going to come back here and extend back to where the rudder comes down. This transom hung rudder, and there'll be a little bearing down there for the bottom of the rudder to sit into. So that part is going to have to all be reinforced. And John was helping me yesterday. We were trying to get the mill scale off of this steel, and hopefully, I shot some video. I just set the camera up outside, so hopefully I'll actually edit a few scenes out of that, or we'll have done that prior to you seeing this now. So I'll put that at the start of the video. But anyway, we were using muriatic acid, and that's, from what I understand, that's what most people use, at least, you know, home workers use. And the muriatic acid, while it worked, it's not a lot of fun to work with, of course. And this one here was done with muriatic. This is the 5/8 inch. That's going to go at the aft end there. But I need to get this fairly clean because I got a lot of welding to do on it. Oh, hello Archie. How you doing, bud? So I need to get this fairly clean. And you know, I used the grinder initially on these edges to take the slag off from the plasma cutter, which was fine, and that took the mill scale off right on the edges there. But doing the whole surface with a grinder is very, very, very tedious. And this mill scale on this one particularly, this 5/8 inch plate, was really, really hard to get off. And you can see, now this has been treated already. This has been treated with acid, and I sprayed it, you know, a number of times and scrubbed it with Scotch-Brite pads, and that still was all left on there. Now this little area here, I tried using some toilet bowl cleaner on it, and it actually worked better. And you can see here, this is a couple of sheets that had the original mill scale on them. Nothing had been done to them. And this was one brand of toilet bowl cleaner, and this was another brand of toilet bowl cleaner. And this does have to stay on just a little longer, so I'm not going to say it wouldn't. I mean, the same length of time with the acid probably would have resulted in about the same thing. But this toilet bowl cleaner is so much easier to use. It's far less toxic than the muriatic acid, and so you don't need quite as heavy a PPE when you're working with that toilet bowl cleaner. And the fact that it's thicker, it stays in place better. You're not having to reapply it as frequently. It's not evaporating as quickly. Just all around, it worked better. It was much more pleasant to work with. So I bought a bunch of toilet bowl cleaner. I bought 5 bottles of it. And so I'll get these last 2 pieces done up with that stuff. And then I'm gonna use it on this one too, because I want to get this one as clean as possible. Because like I said, I've got a lot of welding to do on this one. So we want to get this down to bare metal. And then I'll probably sand or grind, whatever, also. I do have one of those Scotch-Brite pads that goes onto the... I don't remember what they're called exactly. Let me show you. It's like a Scotch-Brite pad that goes on a grinder. And we were using a wire wheel to a certain extent too. And this here is that Scotch-Brite pad that goes on a grinder. And this is the thing that everybody said was so wonderful for removing mill scale. They're like, I don't know, 25 bucks a piece or something like that, so they aren't cheap. And it does work, but I'm not going to say it's a wonder tool either. If you're trying to remove 100% of the mill scale with just that, you're still in for a job. But I got a couple coats of primer on these. These were acid cleaned with muriatic acid, and then John went over them with the grinder there with that Scotch-Brite pad on it, and the wire wheel, you know, for some of these edges that are a little rougher. And I got a couple coats of primer on them, bare metal primer on them last night. So yeah, we got this started anyway. Of course, the big job is going to be getting them underneath the boat. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get more hydraulic jacks in here, take the pressure off the boat in one area, move the blocking out from underneath the hull, and then get that steel slid under there, and probably get a couple jacks, maybe floor jacks, one at either end or maybe just one in the middle, and then jack that steel up into place and then bolt it in. And then of course you're going to have to be crawling around the ground doing that. So it's not going to be a lot of fun to do. At this point, I wish I had done it when I had the boat or the keel, you know, upside down, and when I was working on it. But that would have been difficult simply because the bolts for the floors and stuff had to go through the keel, and I buried those in the keel, so they're thickened epoxy, and fiberglass was put over those. So that would have been hard to do if the steel was on there, but boy, it sure would have been a lot easier to do while the steel was on there. And what we'll also do there is we'll also coat those in a bedding compound of some sort before we put them up in there, which is going to be a lot of fun too. Probably use tar on these because I don't know, the Dolphinite is ungodly expensive, and I'm not sure it actually works any better than the tar. So yeah, that's the next project. I'm actually, got this planking done way ahead of schedule, or it's not quite done yet, but so I don't want to start putting the plywood on the side of the boat until this fall when the temperatures are cooler. That way I got more working time with the epoxy to glue those sheets on there. So what needs to be done this summer is, of course, we need to finish the planking out here. Need to get that keel shoe on. And I need to get the raised shear line established or trimmed. And then the deck beams need to be trimmed to allow for the for the plywood to go on up there then too, but that doesn't necessarily have to be done right now, but at some point that'll have to be done. So yeah, basically we got the summer to do just a few things, and the next couple months to get a couple things done, and then this winter I can get the plywood on. Of course, we need to do more sanding and trimming on this bare planking on the hull yet too, so that's going to be a bit of work too, in preparation for putting the plywood on. And then if we get the plywood on this winter, yeah, I suppose I could do some more interior work and then get ready next spring to move the boat outside. Yeah, that would be pretty something, huh? But anyway, that's where we stand. What did I say today was? July 15th.